Hi, everyone. My name is Marco Ramos, and today I'm going to be presenting on solid waste processing and treatment operations. The emphasis of today's presentation is responsible consumption and production, and this is done to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns. We will specifically emphasize on the importance of community knowledge because a better informed community means better sustainable patterns. And with these better sustainable patterns means there's a less likelihood of landfills being overfilled due to lack of information. It's very possible that a community may directly take their various items, various trash, various possible recyclables to said landfills and skip through the processing portion of it. Or it is very possible that due to some form of malfunction, there could be an outbreak of bacterial contamination or contamination of a nearby water source, which could impact large communities nearby. So we must continue to use and learn about various methods to ensure sustainable consumption and production patterns within our communities. It's important for all of us to stay informed and inform one another. And that is a part of our research goal, the two being to learn about solid waste processing and treatment operations and learn enough to better educate your neighbor. The research approach and methods used were all observational, and I used solid waste engineering, a global perspective, and handbook of solid waste management to better inform myself. The first distinction that I'd like to make is the difference between MRF and WPF. MRF, or a material recovery facility, is a facility that sorts commingled recyclables using a combination of hand and machine separation, with its primary function being to separate bottles by color, plastics by rising, cans by their metal content, as well as old newspapers, old containers, and composable organics. A WPF, or waste processing facility, on the other hand, tries to recover recyclable materials that are mixed in with the usual municipal solid waste. To be specific, the key difference between the two are their individual processes. A material recovery facility is already partially separated, as opposed to a waste processing facility, which has to sort through all the mixed waste. Commingled waste and separation processes are also very important to be informed about. Commingled wastes are valuable resources that should be recovered. They are recyclables that are to be removed and combustible products that need to be prepared for waste to energy incineration. It's also very important that these items or materials are removed, because then it'll take up less space in our landfills, thus decreasing the likelihood of contamination to a nearby water stream or water resource that can potentially harm communities nearby. And the four main processes that's used involves screening, shredding, magnetic separators, and air classifications. It's really interesting to focus on the differences between these said items. For example, a magnetic separator, pulls the items towards it, while an air classification item pushes it away from it into a neighboring container. And the final point that I thought was worth mentioning or learning about for said communities is the composting systems. These work by taking aerobiotic degradation or digestion or organic materials within controlled conditions to create this sort of mulch. And the digestion that I mentioned It occurs when these microorganisms are used to decompose waste or create this form of energy or like nutrients around the decomposable items. To break it down a little bit more, it uses these variety of organisms to break down biodegradable organics or like trash and create biogas. And then this organic matter decompresses these materials naturally under wet conditions. With that being said, there are a variety of different factors that go into account when this is happening. We can take into account the temperature, the moisture, pH, nutrient supply, the availability of oxygen. The bacteria, fungi, microorganisms, these all have a say in the decomposition process. And that leads to possible safety considerations that are taken into account while this is happening. These items are highly flammable. They could be explosive. They could be toxic. Thus, it is important to have these conditions heavily regulated in order to prevent something from happening, which again is why it's so important for communities to be well informed in order to prevent landfills from overfilling and increasing the likelihood of something happening. Conclusions. If you take anything away from this presentation, hopefully it's the difference between materials recovery facility and waste processing facilities, as well as understanding that commingled waste are valuable resources, as well as the importance of composting systems and passing on this information to a community member, a friend, a neighbor, whoever it may be. Because a better informed community means a better likelihood of ensuring sustainable patterns. But what can we do? What can we do to create a global sustainable goal or meet that goal? Pardon. We can throw away our trash in the correct bin. We can ensure that we place our recyclables in the correct bin as well. Reuse items as often as possible. For example, I like to use and carry around a recyclable bottle. I've had this bottle with me for a couple of years now. As well as better inform ourselves on solid waste processes and treatment operations. Because by better informing ourselves, we can better inform our community members as well. And finally, I'd like to take a moment to thank my professor for having such a lovely course and teaching us with such kindness and empathy and ensuring that we all get the best of our education. Thank you.